Well, actually part 2 is going to be above ground because we're going to be talking about basically what we use to inspect this. And we have a low tide, which is extremely low. The water depth is about 8 feet at the bottom of that post right there. So we're not going to do a conventional scuba setup. Usually on small dives like this, where it's only going to take a few minutes to go down and take a look-see, I carry basics, very basics. In fact, sometimes I've even done them with snorkel. But there's a liability to that. So, anyway, what I use, a lot of people will say, whoa, this is a diver. It's a weight belt. I use, for emergency purposes, I use a snorkeler's vest. And the reason for that is I don't want the bulk because I physically got to go up underneath the dock. And to do that, I will be on a breathing apparatus, commonly referred to as scuba. The only difference is that I don't expect this to take me more than 5 minutes. So, therefore, I only need a tank of this size, which will give me about 10 minutes worth of air. One of the big things about when you work around docks, or if you work around piers or pilings or anything like that, is always make sure you have your diver's knife. The reason for that is that underwater entanglement, not so much the overhead environment in this situation, is the real hazard. So if you get hung up on your fin or whatever, you've got to have a way to break yourself free. One of the things I'm going to stress, and I always do, is dive safety. Make sure that your equipment's in good repair. Make sure that you always have resources to back you up. Now, as sissy as this sounds, in addition to a standard pony bottle setup that I use for breathing, which affixes to my belt, like I said, it goes in front of me. So that if there's a problem, it's not like a side mount, and it's not like a back mount either. What I do is I attach this actually to a weight belt. And then that way, if I cut away from the weight, naturally the tank is going to go with it. But in 5 feet of water, all you got to do is stand up. The other part to this is make sure that your equipment's always in good repair, that your regulator always works properly. If you're using a pony bottle setup like I do for these little inspections, make very sure that you have a good source of air. And one of the nicest things is right here. It's this little air pressure indicator, which tells you that there's 3,000 psi of air, so that gives me about 10 minutes worth of air underwater, which I don't plan to be that long. All I'm going to do is go down, up, around 6 posts. Now, if I were going to dive this longer, I'd use an 80 or 63. And so it's basically just a modified snorkel. But still, you still need to know what's down there. For that, I'm going to record it on this camera. And what I will do is I will go to the end of the dock to enter the water, as opposed to going from shore, because the sediments, if I stir those up, then face it, I'm not going to be able to see anything. So, with all of that in mind, how we document these things? Well, it's real simple. Pencil and piece of paper, only underwater, it's called a dive slate. So, with that, I'm going to get suited up, turn on the other camera, start doing the pictures, and of course they will be shared. I will be doing still and video. But I just wanted to give you an opportunity to what's involved when you, even on a small dock, what's involved in an inspection. A lot of people will say, hey, it looks good to me, and they don't understand that when you tie up a boat, you're adding more weight. When the waves come in, that adds more weight. It adds more friction against the stability of the structure. So basically what we're going to do is check the structural integrity of each one of the dock posts. We're going to check the stability of the pilings. Those are those white things that you see standing next to the dock. And then we're going to go briefly under the dock at the end, the far end, the low end, which is why we have the scuba. And in essence, there probably won't be 2 or 3 feet of clearance, so it's going to be a tight dive. So what we'll do is we'll carry a redundant air source, in addition to this one, which is also called spare air. So anyway, hope you're enjoying it. Have a good one. Later.